Hello people, today I'm doing a review of the new A24 horror film, X. I did not really think I was going to see this movie, and then reviews came out, and I was like, you know what? Let's check this one out. And let me get right to it. This movie was kind of exactly what I thought it was going to be, an A24 horror film that, looks at the adult film industry in an interesting way. Because, oh wow, this movie gets awkward, and not in the ways that you think when I tell you the concept. It's like disturbingly awkward. Almost, it's like Scott's Tots episode of The Office on steroids. This movie had many moments where I was going, like, I was cringing at no matter what, if it was the awkward situations this movie put you in, whether it was the gore that this movie had to offer, whether it was the imagery. This movie had a lot to offer with that, and this movie definitely gave me the creeps. There's a lot of things that I will be remembering about this film, and this movie really needs. Now, I watched this movie yesterday, and I really wanted to give it time, because there's some horror films that you watch, you have a great time while you're watching them, but you just kind of forget about this. This movie is not one of those. This movie has really stuck with me, particularly with what it was doing with the scares, what it was doing with the messaging, because it gets like, ugh. There's one scene involving the old woman, and I mean, there's so many, I really can't describe it without spoiling it, but this movie is, the best way I can describe this movie is what Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new remake on Netflix, this is what it wanted to be and failed at. This movie is, like, I wouldn't say I was necessarily scared, I was just tensed up from beginning to end. But honestly, that's kind of what I like out of a movie. If you're going to be horror, I don't really need a jump scare. If it's tense like that and you have me kind of like, what's happening? That's what I want out of a horror film, and this movie delivered on all of that. If I have any problems with this film, maybe I would say at moments they pushed the envelope maybe a little too much. Like, that's my only like big problem with it. Maybe you could have had the movie a little bit longer. Maybe you could maybe the pacing could have used a little bit of like, drag this part out, slow this down, trim this up, maybe simple pacing, things like that. But that's just a nitpick. And the reason why I'm going to give this, I don't want to say I'm giving this like a particularly low grade. It's just, I feel like if you're if you love the movies like Saw, the bloody, awkward things that you see in these type of horror films, if you love those, you're gonna love this movie. And I'm not trying to say I'm biased against horror, because I love horror. Like, my favorite horror films in my top 5 films of all time, The Shining and Hereditary, both of those movies just get bleh. But when it comes to like the in-your-face gore, I'm not saying I dislike it, because I don't want to sound like a terrible person, but I could use some gore in horror films. It's just, when this movie gets this grimy, I'm just like, eh, because it's not something I necessarily want to revisit that much. While I love revisiting films like Midsommar, Hereditary, The Shining, films like that. And so this is very much a taste film. If this movie's within your taste, this is going to go down as a classic for you. If this movie is like me, where you go in critically, you're like, that was a great horror film, will I want to revisit anytime soon? I don't know. But part of me does kind of want to revisit, just so, how once people watch Hereditary, they have to see it again and again with other people to see their reaction to it. This feels like this could be one of those movies. I want to show this to people to see their reaction and act like I'm okay because I've seen it before, even though you will probably be just disturbed watching it a second time. I'm curious what it'll be like if I ever do give this a second time watch. I'm not opposed to it, but there's some things in this movie I just can't get out of my head. Like, it really does get some good thrills out of you. And I really like the look of the movie. I don't know if this was shot on film or not, but it has that film 70s look to it. And they really captured that very well. And I might believe it was made in the 70s. It really didn't feel like it was, written in 2021. It really felt real to that time. Another complaint that I have is there is a couple on the nose references, and particularly to a modern film I did not expect. There's a very, very, I think personally, on the nose reference to Joker. I think people will have to recognize it when they see it, but there's a very on the nose reference to Joker And that's all I'll say. There's also like a semi-reference to The Shining that I noticed. And honestly, this movie was so original that I feel like you didn't have to have those in there to because the movie was doing holding up so well on its own. We didn't really need these small other references. I didn't hate it. It's just I thought maybe you could have cut it out personally, but yeah, comment down below if you've seen this movie and if you know what I mean by when I say there's a very on the nose reference to Joker. I think I saw it, but I haven't actually talked to anyone else that's seen this movie, but I know someone's going to be seeing it soon. I'm curious if they'll be noticing it as well. But yeah, I'm going to give, and forgot the title, I'm going to give X a 8.3 out of 10. Sorry, I'm not uncomfortable saying the title, it's just the title, but I was blanking for a second. I was like, what's the title? Oh, literally just X. So yeah. Anyways, that's my review of X. Comment down below what you guys thought of this deeply disturbing film. So yeah. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, and stuff like that. And adios.